we'll wait for, let's say, a minute. Everybody joined.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I have done all the Google Classroom's task except yesterday's task. So have you checked that?
Yes, I'll check it. I didn't get time to review those tasks right now, but I got the mail that you've done the task.
Yes, I just did the yesterday's task.
Okay. I think Lokesh sir solved yesterday's task. So, Lokesh sir, maybe can you share your screen and show us your code once?
Yes, ma'am.
Make your terminal a bit bigger, like compared to your code screen. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Very good. Like this is actually very, like it's working perfectly. It's completely perfect solution that you've got. Did anybody else do it? Did anybody else give it a try?
हेलो मैम।
Yes.
मैम इसमें एक डाउट था, जैसे अगर यूज़र वंस
Mm-hmm.
1 से लेके 100 के बीच में इनपुट नहीं करता है, अगर 100 से अबव करता है तो फिर।
हाँ, उसको भी हम हैंडल कर सकते हैं। उसके लिए जब यूजर नंबर एंटर करता है, जैसे जब यूजर जहाँ पे नंबर एंटर करता है वहां पे आप एक बार चेक कर सकते हैं कि इफ आपने यू में एंटर करवाया ना, इफ यू इज ग्रेटर देन 1 एंड लेस, मतलब इफ यू इज नॉट ग्रेटर देन 1 एंड लेस देन 100, तो आप उसको एक मैसेज शो कर सकते हैं कि नंबर गलत है, दूसरा नंबर एंटर करो। और अगर ऐसा नहीं है तो नॉर्मल गेम। अच्छा, आप
मैम मैंने
पॉइंट अभी कर। हाँ,
हाँ, मैंने ट्राई किया था लेकिन एरर आ रही थी कुछ।
ठीक है। हाँ, अभी मैं अब लाइक ये वाला पार्ट एक्सप्लेन करने के बाद आई टेक अप दैट पॉइंट। गुड पॉइंट। अगर नंबर रेंज में नहीं है तो क्या करना चाहिए, ठीक है।
ओके मैम।
डिड एनीबडी एल्स डू इट? सी, जब आप लोग कोड करते हैं, लाइक ही डिड इट हिमसेल्फ, सो ही गॉट क्वेश्चंस, राइट? क्योंकि सोचते हैं जब सॉल्व करते हैं और उसमें कोड में प्रॉब्लम दिखाई देती हैं और चीजें पता चलती हैं। तो इसी तरह दिस दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट आर नीडेड टू बी a programmer or a coder or a software engineer, whatever you want to be. Or you need to write code so that you understand code, and then you can come up with problems. Once you come up with problems, you can solve problems, and that's what programmers are supposed to do. They're supposed to solve problems, right? So that's why it's important to practice. Did anybody else give it a shot? Anybody else tried it? Give me a quick yes or a no. I feel like we waste time with me asking the same question multiple times. Did anybody else give it a try? A yes or a no?
यस मैम, मैंने किया है, बट वो लास्ट का पार्ट है ना कि इफ
Mm-hmm.
जीरो प्रिंट
Mm-hmm.
अगेन डू यू वांट टू प्ले अगेन, तो वो पार्ट मैंने अभी तक नहीं किया है।
Okay, all right. So let's start. Let's see how you can achieve it. So I'll explain the whole thing. I just gave it to you guys so that you get a chance to try coding something new. All right. So this is where we were yesterday. We were getting the number, and we have even checked for a winning situation and a losing situation. And now what we want to do is we want to give the user a chance so that they can play again. So when we give a user a option to select from, we're giving them a menu to select from. What do we want to like? Okay, so this is like everybody has their own preference, but this is a thing I go with so that my code is cleaner. I try to do as less coding in my main as possible in my main method. It's better to create different small methods for different functionalities. Like for user input we created this, for the number generation we had this, for equality we had this. So we are going to create another method which is going to be to ask the user's choice. So over here I'm gonna just write we can have user choice, and we can have a method which is going to be a which will return a string, which is let's see, call it user choice. All right, and over here what we want to do is we first we'll need scanner, and we will be showing them message as well. So let's have this, and let's tell the user. I'll just copy it from here, right? I'll just, instead of, so this is what I came up with. This is, I formatted it. I'll explain it to you so that it looks, comparatively more readable. So that's, so we had this tab. I gave a /t for like space, and then I put this bar over here, okay, a straight line, and then give another tab, and then we said, do you want to? And I gave a colon, and then I gave space this bar again so that it becomes like two lines. And then we had /n, which is to change the line. So everything after this will come in the next line, and it will be A, play again, and then again I gave it a, change the line. We had B, exit the game. So after that, I'm going to write another SOPLM. And I'm going to say choose either A or B. All right. And then we'll take a string, this is choice. String choice is equals to s dot next to take the input, and then we will return this choice, right? And again, because Lokesh sir picked up a good question, what if the user doesn't enter between A and B? So we'll just check it over here as well. We'll just say if choice dot this up equals ignore case equals ignore case A, or we can have choice dot. Right, these are the two options. If it is those options, then we return choice. Else, we'll just print. Oh, not print, sorry. Choose a valid option, let's say a valid option. And then we want to print the whole choice thing again. So what I'm going to do is Just a second. Let's see. It's called user choice. All right. So. Hmm. Let's give an empty return. Yeah, I think this should work. So what we did was we did all of this, and then we asked them to make a choice. And if the choice was not valid, we called this user choice again so that it will be, doing the complete thing over again. Let's check if it works. I think this should. So to check it, what I'm going to do is over here, the first thing we'll do is just call user choice. All right, it's called user choice. Um, string choice is equals to user choice, and then I'll just print this. Print choice, and I don't want anything else to work, so I'll just write system dot out, no, system dot exit one. So now what system dot exit one does is it will just end your program like abruptly. Like as soon as the compiler will read this, it will just end the program. It will not do anything else. Okay, so let's see if this works. Okay, we got that. We got the do you want to play again or exit the game? So let's make a choice. A. So just printed A and ended it because it did that. Now let's try making an invalid choice. All right. Uh, Let me write D. See, it should have been choose. I've written choice. It's choose a valid option and place. Did that whole thing again. So it's working perfectly. So. All right. I hope this. Did you guys understand this part? This is kind of like a, you can say kind of in recursion. We're going to study about recursion today also once we're done with this project, where the method calls itself from like within the method body. This is a method body and the method is calling itself. And why we did this empty return is because this was string, so we needed to have a return statement. So we had to do this empty return if it goes to the else part, because if the program is going to the else part, that means the if part is not being read. So we had to do this empty return. Is this clear? Anybody has any doubt about what we just did?
Got it, ma'am.
Okay. So we've done this. So now what we want to do is we need to, again, let's do one more thing is instead, okay, no, it's fine. Now we want this part of a code to, once the user have played the game, okay, the first time the user starts playing, it should not be asked about making a choice, because that's the first time. We want this part of the code to work at least once. It should work at least once. So there's a specific loop which can be used, which works at least one. And after that, it checks a condition, that is do while. When we use while, first the condition is checked. After that, it does whatever's in the body and then goes back up to check the condition again. What happens with do while is it first does whatever is inside the body of the method after of the function, sorry, of the loop, and then it checks the while condition, and if it's true, then it runs again. So do while loop at least runs for one time. Like there will be no situation when a do while loop does nothing at all. It's going to run at least once. So when I'll write it, you will understand it maybe a bit better. So you can say something like do and then you have these brackets. So we're going to have all of this part of a code over here, and then we're gonna say while our choice dot equals ignore case a, and then you put a semicolon. So it ends at the semicolon. So while your choice is A, you want to do all of this, right? So it will work at least once. Sorry. It will work, yeah. It will work at least once. It will do all of this, and after that, it will check if the choice is A. Then we'll go again. And what we need to do is we're going to so let me put this string choice over here. Right, and we don't require this. And yes, here we will have choice is equals to, and over here also we will have choice. All right. So we ask for the user's choice once so the first time the loop, this thing will work, what's going to happen is it will come over here to make a space for choice. It will do this. It will take the user input, take CPU input, check it, print if you won, it will print one. If you lost, it will print you lost. And it will ask for the choice because we did choice equals to user choice over here. Once this loop has worked, it will go to the this condition part and we'll check if choice is A, it will do it again. If it is not, then it will just end the program. So is this part clear? Let me run it once, so I think it will become more clearer. Let's say Java. So it asked me to enter a number first off. It did not take me to the choice part. It did not ask any condition, nothing. The game just works because it's in the do part. And then let's give it a 45. And it displayed you lost, and I'll format this better right now. It's displayed you lost and said you want to play again or exit. Let's say play again. See what happens. So it works again as a 67. We lost again, and then if I click on B, the program just ends. Now because this is all coming in one part is because we've written print and not print ln. This should be print ln. And now we do it again. Let's see, lost, and this should be the 90. We do keep on losing, but the game is working because the probability is, there's 100 numbers and the computer can choose anything. So that's why. But if you win, it will display the thing because I tried it a lot of times and there was a situation when you won. So now coming, I hope this much is clear. Anybody has any doubts in this much part of the code?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So now coming to what Lokesha was saying, like if the number is not in the range, so we can check it over here. When we took the number from the user, after the user enters it, let's check if user guess is not greater than equals to 1 and user guess is not less than equals to 100, right? If we have this kind of situation, okay, we then just do this. If it is this, if it is like that, then we will return the number, right? Else, what we're gonna do? Else, we have to do this whole thing again. We'll call user guess again. return 0. Yeah, we have to do something. Wait a second, no, it will not really work. This will not. Let's see, because it might throw an error. Let's see if it does work somehow.
मैम यूजर गेस तो मेथड है ही नहीं ना.
Okay, yeah, it should be. So, shouldn't use a number. Alright, so now let's see if it works. Let's try adding a number which is not in the range. Let's try 110. So it's an enter number again, right? And now let's enter a number which is in range. So it displayed you lost. So it's working perfectly. We did the same thing as we were doing over here. We check the condition, and if it's not true, we call it again. We can even print a message that make the number was not in range. Choose another number over here and then call it back again. So I hope you kind of understood what's happening. I hope, Lokesh, your doubt is clear. This is how you can check the range, all right? And anybody has any doubt regarding this? No, then we'll move on to doing recursion. So we did see a bit of, we're not really implementing the actual, the way recursion, like the need of recursion. But recursion is just a technique in Java where what we do, the method calls itself continuously. So it's almost, you can say kind of, you can replace it in the for loop. When you use a loop to do certain thing again and again, if you have a separate method, you can just use recursion and you will not have to use loop over there. The method will just call itself again and again. Right. So the way you implement it is literally what we just did, where we are calling the same method. We called user number from inside user number, right? We called this one user choice from inside user choice. This is how recursion is, implemented. You call the method from inside the method itself. All right. So this is an example of infinite time. So what we did, what's happening over here is, it is a static void p and set system order print hello and called p again. So it will go back here, print hello, call itself again, go back, print hello, call itself again. So this will keep on going for infinite times. It will just not stop. Why? Because there is no condition where it is stopping, right? There's no condition where it is stopping. The method is from main, it will call the p method, it will print hello, it will call p again, go back up, print hello, called p again, go back up, print hello, call p again, go back up, print hello. Again, there's no situation where this thing is getting stopped. It will keep on going infinite times. And now that's why you need to make it finite, because a program working forever not stopping is not something that is wanted. Like, it gives you no result at all. So for making it finite, this is like a different program. So they made a counter and then they checked if it is less than equal to 5, print hello, and then call p again. So go back up, it will count it. It will like it will be increased by 1, right? It was, let's say first it was 0, then became 1, then we'll do it again, then we'll go back up, then becomes 2, then do it again and go back up. When it is 5, when it is like more than 5, it will exit the method and then it will come back over here because this calling is inside p, right? So it prints now only for 5 times. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now this is a program for factorials. So we did a program about factorials, right? When we were doing looping, we did where from the number we'll go till the end and keep on multiplying it to the number itself from 1 till the number. Let's say factorial of 6 is 1 into 2 into 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That's what a factorial is. So we are doing that same thing. We would for before we've done it with loops where we'll take for I equals to 0, I is less than the number I plus plus, and then you multiply it from the number, right? So now how you can do it with recursion? If you see this program, the what did they called factorial 5. So 5 was sent to this factorial over here. It came inside. It checked if n is 5, 5 is equal 1. No, it is not equal 1. So it goes to the else part, and then what it does, it returns, what is it returning? The number, which is right now 5, multiplied by factorial n minus 1. So what is this? It's calling the factorial again. It's calling, it's what is returning? 5 multiplied by factorial 4. So now 4 is sent to factorial. It comes over here. Is it equal to 1? No, it is not equal to 1. It comes over to the here in the else part. Then 5 was already there. But now what does it become? It becomes 5 into 4 into factorial 3. It goes back up because the 5 is not removed from there. Right? I think if there is, yeah, here's the working of the program. So if you see what happens is, in recursion, everything works in kind of, a reverse order. So first everything gets like keeps on getting stored and then it starts working at once. So first factorial 5 was called, then factorial 4 will be called, then factorial 3, factorial 2, factorial 1. When factorial 1 is called, what will happen? We'll have n equal 1 and will return 1. A value will be returned. Here recursion is happening. Nothing is getting actually returned. Just recursion is happening. Over here it will get returned 1. So as soon as we get 1, it will start working in reverse. It will do 2 into 1, which is 2. Then it will do 3. It will come over here, it will have 3 into 2. Then it will go back. It will have 4 into 6. And will have 5 into 24. And the answer, which is 120, will be returned back. You can think of it like when we did stack, kind of similar. First, it calls everything, and when it reaches the end point, when the calling is finished, then it works its way backward. So how did we got this 2 into 1? Because when factorial 2 was called, when we had factorial 2, what would have been over here? It would have been 2 into factorial 2 minus 1, right? So we had this in the memory, we had this 2 into factorial 2 minus 1, which is factorial 1. And what was returned when factorial 1 was called? 1, right? So it calculated 2 into 2 minus 1, which was 1. And then what was stored before it? We had factorial 3 into factorial 2. And what did factorial 2 return? It returned 2 into factorial 1. Like, to make it a bit simpler, let me, I think that will just do it over. I think that will make it more. This, what in the recursion part we had this, like factorial n into factorial n minus 1, and this is factorial. This, so we were returning this, right? We were returning this. And once we had n as 1, we were returning the value 1, right? We had this. So the first time it was called when the number was 5, right? So what did we have? We had 5 into factorial of 4. So it called factorial again. So then what we had 4 into factorial 3. And how are we getting this 3? N minus 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. 5 minus 1 is 4. Then it called 3. So we had 3 into factorial of 2. Then we had 2 into factorial 1. And then we had, now when factorial 1 was called, it returned back 1, right? When factorial 1 was called, it gave the value 1. Why? Because we had this condition over here. When n equal 1, it will just return 1. So when factorial 1 was called, n was 1, so it returned 1, right? So 1 got returned. Now it will start working backwards from here, all right? It got the value 1. So now what will it solve? It will solve 2 into 1. Why? Because the value of factorial 1 is 1. Then we have to solve this 3 into factorial 2. What is the value of factorial 2? 2 into factorial 1. This is the value. So we'll have 3 into 2 into 1. Go back up, 4 into factorial 3. We have 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 because this is the value of factorial 3, right? Goes back up, it has 5 into 4 into 3 into 1. And then it just returns the value, which is like the final answer. Is it clear now? Did you guys understand how did it work?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So now here we have this another Fibonacci series, which is like a very common question. So this is a special kind of series, which is 0, 1, 1, then goes to 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 35. All right. It's called a Fibonacci series, and there's this logic of how it works. So for the take 0, 1, and 0. So they take 3 integers, and they have first is 0, second is 1, and third is 0 again. And what the calculation is, the third number is always equal to the addition of these two, and they just swap them. N1 equals to N2 and N2 equals to N3, and N3 is the one which needs to be printed over here. N3 is the one which needs to be printed, all right? First, they just print the 0 and 1. First, what they did, they printed the 0 and 1 themselves, and over here, from here, they started making the series, all right? So they called print Fibo count minus 2, because 2 numbers have already been printed. This 15, what is this 15? That means we need to print a Fibonacci series of 15 numbers. They're asking us to print a Fibonacci series of 15 numbers, but what we sent to print Fibo was 15 minus 2, because we've already printed the starting 0 and 1. All Fibonacci series always start with the 0, 1, 1. All right. It starts with a 0, 1, keeps on adding. 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 8 is 13, in that way. All right. So first 0 and 1 have been printed. Then we will start adding the first 2 digits and printing them. Then adding these and printing it. So coming to the method, it had int count and it got sent the number. Then it checked if count is greater than 0. If count is greater than 0, we'll do n3 equals to n1 plus n2, which is going to be our next number. So right now our n1 is 0, n2 is 1. So n3 will be n1 plus n2, which is 1. And then we swap these. Why are we doing? We say n1 equals to n2 now. Now for getting this 2, we have to do 1 plus 1. Right now this is our n1 and this is n2. But now we want this to be n1 and this to be n2, right? So we do n1 is equals to n2 and n2 is equals to n3. I hope this is very simple. We need to just add the first two digits and print the next one. So once we have the third one, we need to add these two and print it, right? So this is our n2 for the first time and the n1, and this is our n2. But now we want this n2 to be our n1 and n3 to be our n2. So that's what we did. We did n3 is equal to n1 plus n2. We had n1 is equals to n2 and n2 is equals to n3. And then we printed the third number, which is that we calculated, and then we called it again. We called print fibbo count -1. Now why -1? Because now that we have three numbers, we are left with 15 minus three numbers, right? So we do -1, it will keep on going till count is 0. Once it is 0, it will just exit. Let me know if this is clear or you want me to explain it again. Is it clear? Okay. So yeah, so for today's task, I want all of you to finish that guess the number game. I want you all to finish it, just complete the whole project. And I'll see if I find it could maybe a good question recursion, I'll put it in the classroom. Otherwise, the main task is to complete that guess the number game. Now, if you guys have any doubts, you can ask me, or otherwise, we will just end the session for today. And tomorrow, we'll most probably be doing linked lists. Yeah, we'll be doing linked lists. All right, if you have any doubts, you can stay back and ask me, or you can just start leaving. Do you guys have any doubts to ask? Oh, I think you missed the class yesterday, so you can just get the recording from the, like, I think the classes are being recorded. You can,